Am I wrong for refusing to speak to my wife and cutting all communication with her after she failed to disclose the fact that she had her tubes tied before we met and then tricked me into thinking that we were trying for a baby when that was obviously never going to happen? I, 34 male, have been married to my wife, 32 female, for a year and a half. We're both financially stable, and for the past few months, I've been proposing the idea of starting a family. My wife has expressed her lack of desire to ever have children before we got married, but I thought she would eventually change her mind and want to start a family. After suggesting the idea for months, she said that she would be willing to give it a try. We've been trying for a while with no results. At some point, I suggested seeing someone to figure out what was going on. My wife refused. The issue continued. A few days ago, I made the suggestion again that we should talk to a doctor. At this point, my wife broke down and told me that she had her tubes tied before we met because she's known that she never wanted to be a mother from a very early age. She said the process was long and difficult as nobody wanted to perform it until she found a doctor who was willing to perform the surgery when she was in her late 20s. She said that she felt awful and didn't know how to tell me when she knew that I've been excited to start a family. I'm honestly shocked and not sure how to process this information. I knew she wasn't too keen on having kids, but I don't get why she didn't tell me about something so major like being sterile earlier before we ever got married. I feel tricked and cheated, and if I knew earlier, I would have honestly had second thoughts about marriage because starting a family is something that I've always wanted and still do. The night she told me, I packed my things and have been staying at a friend's place and avoiding her calls and text. Her sister called to let me know that it's unfair to leave her hanging and that I should talk to her to sort things out and that she's been worried sick about the future of the relationship. I replied saying that I thought it was unfair that this whole marriage was a lie and she didn't like that very much. Am I the asshole? I just want to take a break for a few months until I can wrap my head around this as I genuinely don't want to talk or interact with her anytime soon.
Am I the asshole for making my wife pay for something she gave away? My wife has a bad habit of giving away or lending out things that don't belong to her. I've lost count of how many times I go to look for something of mine only for her to say she lent it to someone. She also takes forever to get that item back. She once lent my stuff to a coworker and refused to ask for it back for a month. And I'll never forget the day my usually quiet, reserved son snapped at her for trying to give away his Nintendo Switch. If I wasn't also fed up with her behavior, I would have washed his mouth out with soap. I've had countless talks with her, but she continues to do this. My son and I have resorted to locking up anything we don't want touched, which is something we shouldn't have to do in our own home. Last week, I won a $300 tent in a raffle. I had no plans on using it, so I was selling it. When I found a buyer, I went to look for it, and I couldn't find it. When I asked my wife, she said she gave it to a friend of ours. I got mad at her and said she had no right to give it away. Her defense was, since I didn't spend money on it and I wasn't planning on using it, it made sense to give it away for free. I told her that wasn't her decision to make, but she kept on repeating herself. I've had enough of this and said she's either going to pay me herself or get the money from who she gave it to. And if she didn't, I'd get law enforcement involved.
Oh, was this his wife?
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's pissed.
He means business.
He's pissed.
Since she would rather die than ask a friend for money, she paid me out of her own pocket. The issue eventually got around to her family. While they did say she should have talked to me first, they also reprimanded me for asking for payment. They reasoned that since I didn't actually buy the tent, I didn't lose any money, and it went to a friend who could actually put it to good use. I got several texts saying I should be ashamed for extorting my wife for money. I think I have every right to want to be paid for something of mine that was taken. But everyone keeps emphasizing the fact that I didn't technically buy the tent, and I didn't want it, so I have nothing to be upset about. Am I the asshole?
I have so many thoughts. My actually biggest qualm with this is getting your family involved in your couple's drama. Because the family doesn't know like all the things that led up to this point.
Yeah.
I do think it was wrong of him to be like, you have to pay me. Like, I think this is one of those, like, if you ever do this again, like, this is going to be a real problem.
Yeah.
Like, money didn't really have to get involved. But I also do
Law
think
enforcement too.
Law enforcement too. That was a lot. Also, the whole, like, he did win it. Like, he didn't just, like, get it for free. Like, he earned it. He put his thing down. He tried to get it. It's more of the fact that she does this all the time. This reminds me of, like, when I accidentally threw away my husband's Invisalign.
Oh.
Because, like, I was in a mode where I'm like, I'm throwing stuff away. We have too much stuff. And I guess I don't know how it happened. I threw it away and I felt so bad, but it wasn't like you have to pay for it now.
Was it wrapped in toilet paper on your bathroom
counter? I think
counter?
it was one of those things. It happens all the time.
Literally, this just happened to me and Justin.
It was, and it's like an honest mistake, and we laughed about it, and we joked. He's like, "You never clean, and now you throw my Invisalign." But like, I would have paid him for it. Like, I felt bad, but again, it's like clearly she is having a weird thing of like boundaries with like. Also, why are you giving away so much stuff? At least sell it. At least make money for the family.
It's like the opposite of hoarding. Like she has, like, it actually seems like this might be
little mental illness.
A mental health problem.
Yeah.
Because why would you give away your kids
Go
or
on
your
Poshmark.
stepkids?
Go on Depop.
Like the Nintendo Switch is crazy to just give away.
I understand.
Crazy.
It's crazy also if you were just taking stuff and not asking and selling it. But at least I'm like, okay, she's making money. She's on the hustle. But that's still crazy. You have to ask people before you.
Yeah.
What?
It's weird.
So I think his thing is he was just in a snapping moment.
I would snap.
And he was like, okay, pay me that money. And it was less like he needed the money. He was just pissed.
Yeah.
So then like the parents are logically like, that's crazy. You're extorting our daughter. And he's like, no, this was like us fighting and me being kind of an asshole in this fight.
Am I in the wrong for telling my son's girlfriend to break up with him? I'm 41 female and my son, male 20, has been in a relationship with his girlfriend, Lily, female 20, for about 3 years now. I love my son and I hate to say this, but he's not turned out to be a good person. He has very little work ethic, has no desire to get a job or go to college, and spends most of his time gaming or partying. Lily, on the other hand, is the polar opposite. She's very studious, has aspirations to be a doctor, is a very good swimmer, and is currently away at college. When my son and Lily first got together in high school, they were an excellent match. We loved having Lily over, and my son definitely took more care of himself. Since then, it's rapidly deteriorated. I know my son still loves Lily, but he never gives her the attention she deserves, and with her clear potential, I just feel she deserves better. When Lily came to visit a few days ago, she was visibly upset. When my son went to the store, I asked her if she was okay, and she told me that she didn't know what to do and wondered why my son had such little ambition and was so lazy. I told her that I didn't see it changing anytime soon, as that's my view given it's been going on for almost 2 years. When she asked what I would do in her situation, I told her to put herself first and what she wanted. Lily thanked me and said that she'd think about things. Well, earlier today, my son comes downstairs in a rage telling me that Lily had broken up with him via text. I asked him what she said and apparently the message referred to discussions with your mom, and that made her rethink the relationship. My son was livid that I'd gotten involved and said I'd overstepped boundaries. I told him that I didn't advise Lily to leave him, just so that she had to make her own choices and decided what was best for her. My son is now not talking to me, and my husband is annoyed, believing that not having Lily will make my son's rut last even longer. I also miss having Lily around, so am I in the wrong?
Call me selfish, but I would have been so much more interested in learning basic life skills like cooking, cleaning, sewing as a child if they had been framed to me as basic life skills that could enhance my life and not skills that I needed to learn because I was expected to be in service to others for the rest of my life. Because I would always be told things like, oh, you need to learn how to cook so that you can feed your babies in the future. And if you don't have a lot of money, this is a great meal to learn how to cook because it's really cheap and it feeds a lot of people. If that had been framed as, hey, one day when you're in college, you might not have a lot of money. This is a great meal to learn how to make because it's cheap and you can meal prep it, you can freeze it, you can eat it all week long. That is something I would have wanted to learn how to do. As an oldest daughter and somebody with 100 brothers, I knew that I didn't want to be in service to other people for the rest of my life because I was already experiencing that to a degree, and I knew that I didn't enjoy it. I also resisted learning these basic life skills because for some reason there was more focus on me learning how to cook and clean, and then my brothers got to go kayaking, they got to go camping, and I was like, well, I like kayaking, I don't understand why I have to learn how to make lasagna. Same thing with cleaning and organizing. When I got to college, I had roommates who were really good at looking at a space and knowing how to organize, and I realized that that was a skill. No matter who you are, you should learn how to cook, you should learn how to clean. And in the future, if you choose to use these skills to help take care of people you love and that's something you want to do, that's great. These are just basic life skills that all children need to learn how to do. But they should be framed as things that we need to learn to enhance our own lives. It's not at all selfish to want to learn how to take care of yourself and to want to use those skills to just enhance your own life.
Am I wrong for saying you should have thought about that before you procreated? My ex and I have a 13-year-old daughter, Nicole. Nicole has several medical conditions that require a lot of attention, and she'll need some sort of in-home assistance for the rest of her life. While we have an aide to help a couple of days a week, it's still a challenge. The outcome of Nicole's condition became clear when she was 2, so me and my wife agreed that we wouldn't have more kids. as it wouldn't be fair to anyone and there'd be no way we could focus on 2 kids. We divorced when Nicole was 5 and originally had 50-50 custody. 3 years later, my ex remarried Callie, his new wife, who's super nice. My ex did say that she didn't understand the severity of Nicole's condition. Eventually, Callie basically said she wanted to be hands-off, which I respected, though I wondered how it'd work. Well, last year, my ex and Callie had a baby, which I was super surprised about because he was so firm on not wanting to have more kids. But I figured none of my business.